Today we're doing a very interesting menu, and you can see already on the table that is going to be interesting. The light side of classic cuisine. And I want to start with swordfish, which is a beautiful fish. Look at that fish. It's about 4 inches thick here. The whole fish has been cut, and that piece is about 10 pounds. And what we are going to do here is to cut 1/4 of it. Here I would do at least 4 steaks in 1/4. So you would do easily 16 steaks with this. This is the center cut of the swordfish, and as you can see, an absolutely gorgeous piece of meat fish. Look at that, the center. The swordfish itself is very rich, very velvety, but you have to be careful not to overcook it. If you overcook it, it becomes dry, like a piece of leather, you know. So we want to remove that skin also. Remember that this is part of the fatty fish, which are high in omega-3. That is an oil which tends to dissolve cholesterol, so it's good. A bit less rich, but quite nice, however. So here what we have is I'm going to do 4 steaks out of this, and those steaks are approximately between 5 to 6 ounces each, you know, about. So that's an hefty portion. Actually, for a first course, you could have it slightly smaller. Some people will tend to remove the red flesh that you have inside, which actually are more of the fatty tissue. This is where most of the omega-3 tend to congregate. So it's fine. And when you buy, tuna in market, you have the dark meat, you have the lighter meat. I tend to look, this one is very moist also, so I would not remove that. So what we want to do there is to put a little bit of salt on top of it on each side. And of course, if I had a bit more time than I had today, I would take the time of letting it marinate, which I am not going to do today. I will show you, however, that we put a minimal amount, a little bit of a monounsaturated fat I have here. I have canola oil that we put right on top, and this one on each side. And sprinkle it with a little bit of a mixture of herbe de Provence, which is a mixture of different types of herbs, including thyme, oregano, rosemary, and so forth. And what we are going to do here is to put it to cook right away. But conventionally, you would want to maybe marinate it for an hour or so, which would develop maybe a bit more taste, but it's perfectly fine this way. So let's put that directly on the grill. I have a grill which is very hot here that I did ahead. And of course, it's always smoke a little bit, but very often, you know, you may want to do your grilling outside if you have a grill which works out outside, but sometimes it's not always possible. So we have that grill that you can fit directly on the stove, and it's great to do inside the house. And after our first course, while it's cooking, because it has to cook a good 2.5 minutes on each side, approximately, and preferably to rest a little bit after. What we are going to do while it's cooking, I am going to do the second dish, which is the turkey. And the first thing that I have here, I have boiling water. And in that boiling water, I'm going to put those mushrooms that I have put to soak. Those are dry shiitake mushrooms that you reconstitute in water. And you see I put them in water here. You have that beautiful juice from it. You can see how dark it is. That's going to flavor my soup also. This is a very light soup because it is done with the breast of turkey. So I chop that carefully, or coarsely rather, into pieces. You don't have to worry too much about this. Put them in my water. My water is boiling already to go faster. And then, of course, I don't want to disregard the juice here, which has a lot of taste. So I pour the juice in it. Just pour it slowly so that you don't put the end of it. The end of it, as I can see, has a little bit of gritty sand or whatever, so keep the end of it. And now this is the base of our stock. In that base, we put a lot of vegetable to flavor the stock. And I have different vegetables here. As you can see, I have leek. Yeah, a beautiful leek. This is coarsely chopped leek. I have a turnips. See the white turnip that you have here. Sometimes you can put yellow turnips. It's perfectly fine too. You could also put cabbage, other type of vegetable. On the other hand, if you don't like turnips or cabbage, put another vegetable. I have celery and carrot. All of those goes into our stock here. So I will have a very strong vegetable stock here, which is the base of many dishes that we do now. Of course, very light, very low in calorie, doesn't have just water in it, and of course a dash of salt. onto this. You have to season it, and we want this to come to a boil and boil for a good 5-6 minutes before you continue the recipe. Let me check on my steak here. Oh, it's beautiful. Look at that. That grill is great. Works nice. Be sure that your grill is very clean. And as I say again, be sure that you have a good exhaust. That's what's important in your house, or do it on the outside. So while this is cooking on the outside, let's go on with the turkey here. And I have, as you can see here, a breast of turkey. Breast of turkey is, of course, very low in calorie, lower in saturated fat than chicken or other thing. So what you do first, you remove the skin. Again, in chicken and in turkey, about 40–50% of your calories are going to be on the skin. That's where most of the fat is. So you want to remove this. I clean it up all around of any fat, you know, to have a nice, strong but very lean stock, you know. This I will discard. And of course, the stock should be cooking, as I say, for a good 5 minutes. 5–10 minutes to develop the taste of the vegetable. And after that, what you do, you drop that directly into your boiling stock. Right in there. Now what you don't want to do is to overcook the turkey. So basically, on the size turkey that I have, which is about 1.5 pounds, you bring it to a gentle simmer, very gentle, and then for about 8 minutes this way, you cover your pot, you shut up the heat, and you leave it into the boiling stock, as I have this one in there. So it stays into that hot stock, and it continues cooking slowly without boiling. And that tends to prevent it from drying out. You know, a moist center you want. I better get rid of that when you use poultry. Be careful of salmonella, and you will get salmonella more probably in the cutting if you have a cut on your finger and if the poultry is contaminated. So it's important to clean your finger and change board when you finish. I'm going to rinse my hand after this. A little bit, you would want to do it with soap, but in any case, it's important to keep it clean. But what I want to show you now is how to serve that turkey that I have here. And this is like a whole dish in itself. So I'm going to put that right here. And we're going to serve the turkey in there. And in there, as you see, I have mustard. I have the cornichon, which is those French sour little pickle, you know, and horseradish. I even have some fresh horseradish here that you could use. Now, the fresh horseradish, as you see, very white inside. And that horseradish, you can grate it. And as you grate it, it will make you cry. It's so strong, you know. So what we're going to do there is just remove that breast of turkey. Put it directly on the board. And some of the stock I will serve with it. So maybe I'll put the stock first. Now you can, of course, serve that individually. But you know, I can tell you, I can smell especially the mushroom here. Those shiitake mushrooms, those are imported shiitake from China. They are in most markets. They're really quite inexpensive. See, I have extra stock. I have quite a lot of stock. So serve some stock on the side also. And you would want to serve approximately at least a couple of slices per person of the turkey, which in my opinion is just about perfect here. You see, just slightly pink, and I see it's not dry at all. So I put them back directly into the hot stock here, serving it in there. And this is the way you want to put maybe some vegetable on top for color. And you want to serve that directly with your croutons. Those are country bread. Serve it with that. And this is the main course. Let's go back to our fish and see the way it's cooked. The way it's spraying under my finger, I know that it's cooked enough. So I'm going to remove it. Surely I can use this. And at that point, if I add, very often we do that in restaurants, marking it on each side, and after it's marked, what you want to do, you put it into an oven about 180 degrees or so, and in that oven, as I'm doing it here, the residual heat, just a little bit of heat, will continue cooking it very gently. That is, it finishes cooking itself in the residual heat. You don't want to overcook the center. However, with that grilled fish, which you can serve by itself, I want to show you how to make a sauce that I serve with it, a very piquant, a very spicy type of sauce, which I love and you can use for other things. In that sauce, I have different type of things. The first thing that I'm going to use in there, I'll put that directly in that little blender, is some jalapeno pepper, and I cut it from around the seed. As you know, the seed in the center are going to be much harder than the seed actually, and the rib of the pepper is, I've been told, in the area of 60% of the hotness in it. So if you don't want it too hot, and I would advise you to taste it, take a little bit like this, or just touch it with your finger and taste the hot. This one is quite hot. I can feel it. But sometimes, you're going to taste it and it's very mild. So, taste it first. Then I have 2 cloves of garlic, cut it into pieces there. I have my other stock cooking here. I'm going to stop it so it cooks very slowly. And then I have fresh mint. You see, the mint for me is a great addition. The mint and the hot pepper go so well together. The mint gives you that type of very cool feeling in your mouth, and the hotness of the pepper on top of it make a great combination, So we put meat. With mint, I like to put cilantro, and the cilantro here is also what is called Japanese parsley or Chinese parsley or coriander in France or coriander in English. Don't confuse the leaf and the seed. If you have those tiny round seeds which look like peppercorn, those are coriander seed, and it's used in pastrami, making pastrami, corned beef, and so forth. We use it a lot in France too. And those little peppercorn or those coriander seeds have a very specific taste. If you take those seeds and throw them in the ground, what grows out of it is that green thing that we call coriander, the parsley itself. And really the leaf itself, in my opinion, have a different taste than the seed. And here I have a piece of ginger. Here's a beautiful piece of ginger here that you cut. And actually for something like this, if it's clean, you look at it, if it's clean outside a little bit, you don't even have really to peel it. It doesn't matter, as we are going to do it, to ground it and so forth. So there is some ginger that I use sometime, which I've had in Hawaii, which is slightly greenish, smaller, and very tender. And it's used now. There is another type called galinga. You may have seen galinga, and it's a type of ginger which is small and quite tender. So what we're going to do is to make a puree out of this. Place that thing on top. It is good. And at that point, this is almost as fine as I want it. This is when I will add yogurt to it. We're doing that very piquant type of sauce, with yogurt. I have 1 cup of yogurt here, of course, except the tablespoon that drop on the table. I'm a mess in the kitchen sometime. I know when I'm a mess in the kitchen, my wife throws me out, so I watch. Otherwise, I'm a neat cook. So you want to emulsify this together. Right, into a smooth mixture. And this is, and I need a dash of salt in there, which I have here, which I will put. And you will notice that this will have a very piquant type, not only and a beautiful color, with all those herbs in it. Now, this is an ideal dish that I've served, an ideal sauce that I've served many times with grilled chicken. Terrific with grilled chicken to put underneath. As I said again, you can serve that by itself without the sauce, but it's fine this way. If you were here, you could notice that there is a lot of juice here. I can even put the juice in there here. What does that tell me? It tells me the fish is cooked enough, because the fish rests and can really sing some juice, which I mix in there, which is very nice. So now, what I could do is actually putting a little bit of that sauce directly on the plate. That spicy sauce here. And you can be lavish there. Remember, it's done with no fat yogurt, so it's quite lean. And then I would put that piece of fish on top. I'm picking up that piece here, and I think the way it looks and the way it feels, the cooking is just about right here. I'm going to cut a piece just to show you the inside, and the inside should be just slightly pink as it is here, and this is the way I would want to serve my fish. For our light side of classic cuisine, today we're going to do a creamy rice pudding with fruit sauce, kind of comfort food dessert with no guilt. In that case, there is no cholesterol, and the old classic way we used to cook it with milk and cream, and in that way I'm going to do it differently, and I'm going to do that with a fruit sauce. And the fruit sauce that I'm going to do here, I do it with cider, apple cider. My pan is hot already, about half a cup here, and about half a cup of a strong, sturdy, robust red wine here that I have. You want to bring that to a boil. We put some, those are seedless grapes, you know, that you put in this. And I have a plum here. You can have other fruit. Just cut it around, slice it next to the pit. Take the pit with the point of your knife. We can cut that into little dice. Again, they'll be slightly different in color than the grapes. To add to our sauce, you can of course put another type of fruit if we don't have that one. Here it is. And a little bit of the sweetening agent. Inside I'm going to put a little bit of honey, a couple of tablespoons of honey in there. You want to bring that, stir it, bring it to a boil, and you want to cook this about 4 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. It depends on your fruit. You know, you don't want the fruit to fall apart, but you want them to be a bit tender. And then after that, we're going to thicken it. Meanwhile, I wanted to show you here. See, I have 3 cups here of skim milk. You know, using skim milk here, there is nothing in it. And in that 3 cups of skim milk, I'm putting 1/3 of a cup of Carolina type of rice. So it's not much, it's a lot of liquid for a little bit of rice. But what you want to do, to bring that to a boil, put a bit of cinnamon in it. Let's say I put maybe half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Bring it to a boil. You want to cover it. And the best way to cook it is to put it into the oven. You know, in my opinion, this is the best way. I did cook from all over, you know, and or you can cook it on top of the stove, but 350 degrees for like 45 minutes. And basically that's what it looks like at the end, you know, kind of mushy. And you can see if it's a bit too thick, even at the end, put a bit more skim milk in it because you want it kind of soupy. As you can see, the outside there is a bit burned, but it's okay, that's the way it comes out. And you see with 1/3 of a cup of rice, I get quite a lot. It's even a bit burned underneath, but it's okay. In this, I'm putting a few tablespoons of maple syrup and a dash of vanilla. Remember, there is no sweetening agent that we put in there. So you have to sweeten it now, and even this way, it's not really very sweet, you know. It's quite nice. Now, it's soupy, as I say, and this is why we call it this way. That, of course, after it's been taken off the stove, I've been cooling off. This is cold now, and you would normally, after you take it out of the oven, put it in a bowl, let it cool off, put it in the refrigerator. Now, this has not been cooking for 5 minutes, but let's suppose that it's been cooking for 5 minutes. What you would want to do is to thicken it. I have a teaspoon here of cornstarch, and I put a little bit of cider here, like 1 teaspoon of cider. Then I'm going to dilute directly into, you have to dilute it with liquid, and I could have a little bit of wine, a little bit of water, or this, you know. I'm going to stop it, because you can see it this way, and that add directly to this. You will see it will give it just, stir it as you put in, and it give it a little bit of viscosity in there. And basically that's all there is to it. You would let your fruit and red wine sauce cool off now. So now we can serve it. What you want to do is to put it there, and I think, yes, I have one of the sauce which is cold now that I have in the bag, which has been cooling. So you put your rice pudding. You want to serve that cool, you know. I don't really like it ice cold. So this way, that type of comfort food, you know, and a little bit of the sauce on top, different color. As you can see, the wine and the thing will pick up different color. It's very kind of soothing. Other garnish, you know, you can serve, if you want, a little bit of, I like the color and the taste of kiwi, you know, so you could serve a couple of slices of this, or even cut your slice in half and put them around, or mix them into your sauce. It'd be perfectly fine to put them around this way. And then maybe a little sprig of meat on top, and you have a beautiful dessert. Now, with this, I have a bottle of wine here. I wanted to show you how to open a bottle of wine properly. It's good to have good wine at the table. You cut it all around here and remove that part of the top right here. And this is especially for old bottle of wine where the cork tend to get crumbly, old Bordeaux. Then you would use that two-pronged thing. There is one which is longer that you start inserting first, then put the second one next to it, jiggle it like that to get out, then twist it, whoop. Never work on television. Here it is, again, put it back. You can reinsert your knife, by the way. You do exactly the same thing if you want to re-put your cork in it, so you don't damage the cork, no crumbling inside. That's the best way to open wine. Like any kid, you know, when I was a small infant, I remember the rice pudding that my mother used to do. And that rice pudding was part of my memory as a child. And what I have tried to do today, it's a recap of those type of memory. I think we have a very interesting dinner tonight, a very interesting meal. Even though we have fish and meat, it's done in a very light way. And the piece of swordfish here could be served at a main course. We have it with that beautiful piquant and spicy sauce with garlic in it and hot pepper and mint, coriander, and so forth. And then we have that type of pot-au-feu, so-called like a pot-au-feu in France, which was a boiled dinner. But instead of doing it with meat, as we would do normally, it's the breast of turkey. We have a great deal of different type of vegetable. And finally, that type of mushy, well-cooked, creamy rice pudding, you know, with the red wine sauce. This is the idea of today's gourmet, you know, to try to take those old classic, and I'm not a macrobiotic guru or anything like that. I'm trying from a common sense point of view to tell kind of old classic recipe and do that in a modern way. And with that, what can go better than a spicy, well-rounded, full Chardonnay from the Santa Maria Valley? You will enjoy that meal if you do it, and that wine also, and I hope you do it for your friend. I enjoy doing it for you. Happy cooking.